Hello again. Today I'm going to be talking about phonics programs. And the first one I'm going to show you is called Sing, Spell, Read, and Write. This is a really old program. My mom used it to teach my siblings and me. And even into adulthood, I was still singing the songs. And then when we had decided to homeschool Jackson, this was the program that I wanted to use. So here it is. So here is Sing, Spell, Read, and Write. This is the preschool book. And then you can move on to the kindergarten book. And this is your early elementary book. So here is the preschool book. And this is going to go just over your alphabet. Just show you a couple pages. You circle the pictures that are wrong, or the things that are wrong in the picture. You can color. And it wants you to cut out the farm pictures and paste. There is a lot of cut and pasting in this book. Find what's different. Or I'm sorry, that's complete the pattern. Color to complete the pattern. Again, cut out and paste to complete the pattern. Shapes. And then we're going to start with the alphabet. So with your letter A, you get to color the picture. They still have some more of those. Circle what's different. You're going to practice your tracing. This is a tracing program. You have your lowercase. And then you're going to cut out the pictures that start with the letter A. Once you cut those out, you're going to paste them. And then this was when magazines were a big thing. You would cut out pictures of magazines that would start with the letter A. I found this difficult for my children. And they just weren't really interested, like I used to be, in magazines. But anyway, and that's what it does for each letter. You still have your finish the pictures, some of those, but your focus is trace the capital, trace the lowercase, cut out a letter that starts with the B sound, cut out the picture that starts with the B sound, and paste it on. That is all that this book does for your pre-K. Here is the kindergarten book. This is where they start doing a little bit more. And they give you a nice little track that you can mark your progress, which is fun for the kids. They trace their letters. Here, this is part of the Sing, Spell, Read, and Write. And they have songs that go with these. I have the CD that I found with my kit. It used to come in cassette. That tells you how old this is. But also you can find them on YouTube. I found the songs on YouTube as well, which is what I usually use. But anyway, my kids, especially my girls, really enjoyed singing to the song as they pointed to the letters. And it's really catchy, really fun songs, and it helps them with their letter recognition. So there's that. We move on. Trace your letters. You're going to match the letters to their sounds. Here's another song with your short vowels. And that goes with that. And they start writing the letters that go with the beginning sounds. And this goes to your Ferris wheel song. This was one that I have sung into adulthood that I really enjoyed. And I'm going to show you something here in just a second. So I actually copied it and laminated the Ferris wheel. And this is just really good practice and really good repetition for practicing your sounds and then your blends when you start doing the blends. So, trying to think how it goes. Round and up and down the Ferris wheel we go. Round and up and down. Come on and don't be slow. Have a ticket in your hand. The ride will soon begin. Do your best, your very best. Go round and round again. And again, these songs are on YouTube. But then you start and you go around doing your short vowel sounds. Ah, eh, ah, 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 ah. And then you start doing your blends. Ba, ba, bi, ba, 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 bi, ba, ba. So here it's got the star is your first row. Then I'm going to show you the very last one. It's the very last, well, not the last one, but close to the last. It's got the little house. So, gra, gre, gre, gra, 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 gre, gre, gra. And again, this is really good for starting out on blends. Sometimes I think curriculums rush through this. So this is really good practice. Then after you do the Ferris wheel, they're going to have you break down and do the short vowel sounds starting with ah. You're going to cut them out and glue them to the correct picture that makes that sound. You're going to trace a word and draw a picture of the word. And then here's a little fun activity. I've made a copy and cut it out. And then you can just slide it up and down to make new words. Cat. Sat. So they're practicing their words there, their sounds. And then you move on to the E's. Eh. There you've got your little whistle stop, so then you can keep progressing. Once you get through all your short vowel sounds, try to see if I can get through it for you. It is not cooperating. They're going to start a story. So you're going to match the word to the pictures. This is a vocabulary practice. They're going to read through these words, make sure they can read them well. They have these little symbols. This is a rule breaker. This is how you're actually supposed to pronounce it. Another one. The E is silent. And then you get to cut out these little storybooks, put the name on it, and they can color them in. And you staple them together. And I don't have one with me. And I make copies. This is very hard to find, so I just make copies for each child. So they're going to read through the story, and then they're going to practice. Fat, fat, cat, sat. Well, that goes down here. So they're going to match it to the story. And then they've got several of these. And then it says, now it's time for us to read. And you're going to pull out your book. And they're going to read through this cute little book. They're very simple. I like these because they don't add all those crazy words for the simple readers. It sticks to your A's only. Nothing crazy. Very simple, bright colored pictures, which my kids loved. Once you're done with the story, you're going to practice your sequencing. What happened first? You're going to draw a picture of your favorite character. You're going to fill in the blanks, practice writing words. And then you move on to the next letter, the E's. It breaks it down. I love it that it keeps it so easy. So that is basically your kindergarten. And here is the early elementary. You have an instructor's manual. which is going to tell you the whole scope that you can use. I was going to say, it actually does show a CD, but they used to start with cassettes. It's crazy. And it tells you how to do the songs. It tells you exactly. It gives you, if you really need the scripts, it helps you know how to do it. Off We Go. I think I have this one too. Off We Go. I just didn't use it as much. I think it's even earlier than the All Aboard. Let me see. Here we go. Raceway book. So you got all your materials that you could use. How to do it. That's really, I don't usually follow this one as much. But if you want to be more intensive and have a lot more to the program, you can. The one plus about this is when you read your storybooks, it's going to give you questions that you can ask them for comprehension. You can have grammar lessons mixed in with it. Let's see, again, questions, grammar. But here, the one thing that you do need this for, if you want to do assessments throughout, and I'll show you where they tell you to do that, this gives you your answer key for the assessments. And I give it just as a baseline. I don't put any stress over this for my kids, especially this early in the grade, but it does show that they're learning, they're making progress, if anybody needs that proof. And then it moves on. So I'm going to show you the student book for the early elementary. And they have their own little raceway track that you can follow your progress with. And I've also printed that out and laminated it. Actually, I think that one came laminated with my set. You start with your phonics song again, your A to Z's, your tracing. It just starts you kind of back at the beginning. Tracing your sounds, your short vowel song. And then we start back at the Ferris wheel. This time, it's going to have you mark when they complete each shape, each sound group. And when you're working on the stars, the very first one, you work on the stars. They're going to cut this out and paste it to make a word, and then they're going to draw a picture of the word that they made. So sometimes it's a little difficult because there are multiple ones, like you can do kid or kit. You just kind of have to figure out how many fit. It's kind of a puzzle. Then there's your squares, then your circles, your triangles. And then once it starts doing the more intensive blends, the BRs, CRs, they're going to write down which blend it starts with. So this is CR for cradle, BR for brick, TR for train. And they're going to fill those in. Again, just practicing recognizing where those sounds go. And they do that again for all the different sounds. And then here again, they're going to cut them out, paste them, and make pictures. This is for the bell shapes, tickets. You keep going. And this takes a while to get through, but it's really important foundation that the kids need. Then we're going to go to our vocabulary for the letter A, and they're very simple: map, van. And with the Sing, Spell, Read, and Write, the original idea was they would write it out and practice their spelling as they copied the words next to it. You write down, you initial when they can read them, you initial when they can write them, and then when they can spell them. And then there's more here for your A's, and then you're going to do the storybook. And this is the storybook for letter A. And they're very simple, and they stick with just the simple A words. That's what I love with these books. They don't make you do a lot of large words that don't make any sense to them. Then they have a few worksheets to practice. You can match the picture to the sentence, fix the sentence, put a capital letter and a period, copy the sentence, fill in the blanks. You'll practice writing names. So they have to practice capitalizing names. Draw a picture, and then you're going to do your assessment. And again, that assessment book it gives you a cover sheet for your scores. These are word recognition and comprehension. Word comprehension, you're going to read out in the instructor manual. It either gives you a word to say, so they've learned to recognize the word, or it's also going to give you a definition, and so they have to find which word matches the definition in the group of threes. It goes by group of threes. Match your words. Match a sentence. And in the early ones, it just has you fill in the blank letter, practicing their spelling. And that is it, just for the early ones. One thing I did want to mention before I move on, this is handwriting heavy in this portion of the book. Jackson has dysgraphia and he really struggles with handwriting. So instead of worrying about all the agonizing handwriting he would have to do and have a lot of issues and problems, struggles just to get him through it, I found a way to accommodate. These are letter cards for a pocket chart. So he would read through the words, and he's very good. I would say he's probably hyperlexia, where he just understands reading and letters very early. So he would read through the words and then spell them for me with the letters without, seeing anything. Be his quiz. S-A-T, sat. Okay, can you spell pat? You find the P. Put in the P, pat. And that's how he did his spelling. I did not make him copy out all the words. Once you finish all your short vowel stories and letters and things, it's going to move on to your clusters, your letter clusters. And this is something that I absolutely love about this program. So they put it in a song and they practice just the clusters. And here I've laminated. I do that with everything, so that way we can use it over and over and over again. Made it through 2 kids, 1 more to go. You've got your cluster songs, and they put it in a catchy little song. My kids got tired of singing the song, Mommy No More, but they learned their clusters. Here you're going to match the cluster to the picture. They do that, and then you either start or end it with that sound and draw a picture. And then they have little storybooks. These did not include clusters. I just felt like they were extra practice. We didn't really do them with Angela. And then you practice your clusters some more. They did a lot of worksheets practicing clusters. Angela worked on this a lot this summer. We practiced clusters a lot. She was getting tired of it, but she learned them at the end. And that's what matters. That's what I love about this program. Again, we didn't really do the extra little stories with her. Let's see. Once you get through that section, they have fun little games. Let's see. This is Pop the Balloon. So she's going to say the letter cluster and pop goes the balloon. These are your long vowel sounds. These are frequently used words. Oh, I don't have that one with me. But then 2 vowels get together. Is that what I have? I brought one. Yes, so storybook 7, 2 vowels get together. So you're going to practice this. They have a song that they can practice over and over again. And this one took a long time to get through too, because there's a lot of 2 vowel words, but they learned it. Once they get through, again, you mark, they can read, they can write, and they can spell it. Once they get through that section, make it all the way through, and they do the silent E's too in this part. Then you're going to do your storybook reader and then your book assessment, and you mark it, date it. So here's the storybook reader. Here's your 2 vowel words and your silent E. And again, they only stick to those words. If they introduce it, it's going to be in that vocabulary, and they're going to help you with it. I'm sorry, I'm just struggling with these pages. They're very simple. Angela loved having the pictures. That was something that we came back to this for, was for the picture books. And I'll explain more of that later. And then your assessment. Here's the assessment for Storybook 7. And you're going to have your word recognition and comprehension. Then you're going to match the pictures to the sentence. This one was a long one. And the other thing that they do differently in the upper level from your short vowels, is they're going to do story comprehension. They're going to read the story, and then they're going to answer the question with the story. That's something that they introduce later on. And that is it for your assessment. I also wanted to mention really quickly, one of the ways that I did one of the songs with Jackson, the 2 vowels get together, I actually made him these really fun dinosaur letters so that when you sang the song, he got to use the dinosaur puppet. So when 2 vowels get together and they play a game, the first vowel speaks, it says the letter name. The vowel is E and the word is seat. The vowel is E and the word is seat. Just some ways that you can incorporate your child's interests, their fascinations, and that way they're actually interested in the work or the song. So that is what I have, what I'm going to show you for Sing, Spell, Read, and Write. I do have the next level from the early elementary, but we haven't used it yet. We may not, I don't know, but I have it there if you want to look through it as well. This one is, because it's older, it's really hard to find. It's not published anymore yet. I don't know if she's looking to renew the publishing. There is a group on Facebook that I'm a part of that you can directly message her for a copy of these, but I've heard it's hard to get a hold of her. I can still find them at Hillbilly Book Barn. They are still floating around. I absolutely love it. Like I said, the songs and the activities help those blends and those clusters to really stick. So that is why I love this program. You can also, if you really want to try it, you can make copies. I make copies. I probably shouldn't say that, but at this point where it's really difficult to find, I make copies and keep the workbook. I made the mistake when Jackson was first going through it. I was like, oh, I should be able to find more, and I let him write through the first book, and then I couldn't find them. So that is the problem with this series. It is a little bit harder to find because it is not published anymore, but they are still out there. My parents grabbed, because my mom teaches, she liked to use those phonetic books, the readers. She grabbed sets off of eBay. They are still findable at this point. Anyway, that is Sing, Spell, Read, and Write. Another really popular phonics program is all about reading. So here it is, all about reading, where Sing, Spell, Read, and Write was much more song-based and handwriting. This one is a lot more hands-on, manipulative-based, with games. And so we'll take a look at this one. I am not as familiar with it, but we did try it briefly with Angela. So you have the teacher's manual, and it's going to tell you, if I can get there, what you need. So you've got letter tiles. It's talking about these magnet tiles here. Let's see. It also has a set of cards that you can use. I've got these letter tiles for the pocket charts, but it's not the same thing. They have their own boxes and things you can use there. Let's see. There is an activity book I apparently did not get this time around, but you can get that, and that would actually, looks like there's a lot that you can use for that. The activity book also has a progress chart that you can use. Here's your step-by-step plans. It can come with a CD to help you with your phonogram sounds if you would like that. And then it's going to tell you how to introduce your letters. Again, this one's got a dialogue for you. How you say your letters. And then how they are going to practice saying them. This is how they start the blending sounds. Let's say a, p, and then you bring them together. Map. All together, map. That's how they teach the blending sounds. Then you're going to trade out your tile for other sounds. It has a Ziggy game. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Here's an activity sheet. Again, I did not get the activity book, apparently. And then they have the words that you will practice on the cards. And then you mark your progress. So here is the game book, Adventures in Reading with Zigzag the Zebra. The first game that was mentioned in the first lesson was Apples for Ziggy. So here it is listed in the book and your instructions. And then I had purchased a set from somebody else that had already put the games together. And they put them in these really handy folders. So she had put, actually glued on about the game on the front. And then you open it up and she has the board there in front of you put together. And then she laminated the instructions so nicely. And then she had the pieces cut out and laminated too. So for this game, you fill up the tree with the apples. And then there's a phrase. You say, I'm visiting the state of Washington and I've discovered an orchard filled with apple trees. I love apples and can't wait to try some. But today I am particularly hungry for apples with vowels on them. Can you help me find some apples to eat? Pick 4 apples from these trees. So the child is going to pick 4 apples. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then flip them over. Oops. And then tell me if these are vowels. A, O, A, U. These are all vowels, so she gets to keep all of these. We'll refill the tree. And this is just for learning consonants and vowels. In lesson 5 is where they introduce the first reading book. And they're going to read the first story, Jam. And then they've got questions for you to ask about the story. And the tan hat, and then your progress chart. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here's their cute little reader book. There's our thicker than the other one, the other series that I showed you. There's all the different stories in there. The first story is Jam. They've got these cute little drawings. Very short, and they all use the A words. So it's really simple, really easy, and fun to read. And they're short. So that is your first story in the reader. So All About Reading is another good hands-on, fun, super cute phonics-based program. And they are so easy to come by. They're still very popular. They are a little bit more pricey just because the big set, you have all those pieces included with it and all the readers, so it is a little bit more pricey, but a lot of people highly recommend them.